How's it going, everybody? It is June 19th. This is episode 4 of Puck Drop a Cutting Edge. It's me, Kevin Geist, here with Steve Dempsey. How we doing, Steve?
Doing good, Kev. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's just the two of us today. No Johnny Hero. Johnny will be back with us next week. But ready to rock and roll. So we'll start talking with Stanley Cup playoffs, man. Uh, Game 5 last night, Edmonton, Florida. I thought Florida would win last night.
I honestly did too. I honestly didn't think the Oilers had it in them, but yeah,
Here we are.
yeah. Here we
Right
are.
now, it's all the momentum is with Edmonton. They went on three-game losing streaks during the regular season this year, and all three times it was followed by a massive win streak. I think one of them was that big 16-game win streak. Another was like a 9-game win streak. Another was, I don't remember the amount of wins, but it was another big win streak. So if any team has it in them to go on a run, I guess it is Edmonton.
100%. I mean, McDavid's an animal. Like he's just like just having that guy. Like he's just like pure. Just I want to win. Like he does not. He looks like a guy who just does not like to lose. So I can see him just taking over these. I mean, the next game too. I think he's just gonna take over.
Yeah, I think it's if you're Florida, it's a little scary because Edmonton found their scoring touch, and the first couple games they were really able to shut them down. But you see the past two games now they've scored a total of 13 goals in two games if you include the empty netter. Without the empty netter, you got 12 goals on Bob in two games. Um, that's one thing. If you're Florida, there's a little bit of worry in there. Um, but if you're Florida, also you can sit there and say we only still need to win one game. I do think it's hard. It's going to be very hard to beat this Florida team four times in a row. But we'll see. It's coming down to wire, and I'm happy that there's a series, right? I'm happy that it's not just a sweep. It makes the series a lot more fun. It makes Game 6 a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting.
Oh, it's gonna be intense, like really intense, and yeah, I honestly think that, I mean, Florida's gonna come out flying. I don't think they're gonna want to lose 3 games in a row. That is not happening with them. So I think they're gonna come out flying this next game.
Yeah, and especially in Edmonton, like you have to do your best to quiet the crowd as soon as possible, right? Because Edmonton one believes that they can win now, right? You have two games that they just, they play good hockey, and now they believe, now they're feeling it, they got the momentum, and their fans believe too. This is going to be the last game in Edmonton for the regular, for the season. Regardless, win or lose, this is the last game in Edmonton. Obviously, Game 7 is in Florida, so the Edmonton fans are going to make sure they go out with a bang, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
They're going to be loud, they're going to be ruckus, they're going to be crazy. Florida is going to have to do what they've done well pretty much all playoffs, is kind of just weather the storm, survive, and capitalize on their chances. And they've actually been the worst first period team in the playoffs. They have a negative goal differential in the first period.
Wow,
And
that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's wild.
and they've been the best third period team in the playoffs. Right? So what they do is they pretty much just they hang around, keep it close.
They like almost feel you out for the first like period. Like it's weird. I don't know if you're watching their games is interesting because like they like almost feel you out. They don't take that too many. They don't take too many chances, and then like second, third period, like either they lock it down because they somehow get the lead, or they'll find ways to just get in the slot, score the dirty goals, and just I don't know. It's crazy to watch them, but I'm curious to see how this next game goes.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. If you're watching kind of the end of that game, it's like I thought Florida was going to tie it up. I did. They were bringing it. Once it was once it got 4-3, it's a one-goal game, and they were just peppering them. And then you had the goalie pulled situation, where first you get the roller that hits the post on the empty net, and then that crazy back check that Kachuk had with the wide open
Oh
net.
my god, that was nuts. Like the fact that he even got it was crazy to me. Like I
I'm
don't know.
watching the game. I mean, dude, the puck was at the top of the crease when he was like between the hash marks
Yeah.
and still going. I was like, oh man, there's no shot he gets to that. And then he swiped it out. I was like, there's no way he got that.
Let me just say he is one like people love him, people hate him. I honestly can't stand of he's like when you play like he's so annoying to play against. But like he's such a good hockey player. Like he's very skilled. He can just put the dagger in you, and he will do anything for his team, which is he's just crazy. I think he's just it's just fascinating to watch.
He's one of those players that you hate him if he's on the other team, you love him if he's yours. And he was doing everything in his power to will that Florida team to win last night. He had a ton of shifts. The goal with the Ekman Larson goal that made it 4-3. He did great work down below the goal line. He possessed the puck. He pinned it against the boards. He fended off the defenders, and then eventually he found his D man with Ekman Larson and put it right on a tee for him to lean into one and score. And he had a ton of shifts like that where he was just controlling play, controlling the puck. Him and Barkov and that top line, they were buzzing. Once it became 4-2, um, you know, I think it might have been a little too late. I thought if they went to the third period with only down by a goal, then it for sure I was like Florida's winning this game. Coming down two, I mean they were down 3 goals twice, 3-0, then 4-1.
Yeah.
Like when you got that kind of talent on the other team, and um, it's hard to keep crawling out of those big deficits, and that's the way you got to beat Florida. Look at the 2 games that they beat Florida. They went up big. You have to go up big because if you keep it close with Florida, by the time the third period rolls around, they're just going to wear you down.
Yeah, they'll wear you down, and then they'll just get that greasy goal
Yeah,
or just the snipe from the slot from like Reinhardt. But
they just have an extra gear that they turn on in the third period,
yeah,
and it comes along with because the whole team as a whole works together and they all have the same similar style and they roll 4 lines out there and it allows their top line to come out and bring it when
yeah,
they
they
have
they
to.
have they have they're gonna have the energy because most teams like come third period, they're shortening the bench. You're playing 3 lines, but like they can play 4 lines. They're all built pretty much the same, and like keep going.
Yeah, no, they have the legs. They definitely got the legs to do it. That top line that comes out and they just wear you down. They beat you down. The other thing too that you have to worry about if you're Florida is Edmonton's power play is starting to click, and they scored their special teams in general are really starting to click. They scored a power play goal and a shorthanded goal in 2 games in a row, both game 3 and game 4. They started with a short. They opened the scoring with a shorty, and I mean that shorthanded goal. Florida looked so bad. Right before they had the breakaway, there was another odd man rush. There's a 2-on-1 that they almost scored on. Like twice, they were forcing passes and they were forcing plays, and Edmonton was all over it. And they were lucky that they didn't give up a goal earlier in that power play. And if Florida is going to close out this series, they have to do better at special teams. Um, they just have to because if you let Edmonton really get the ball rolling and let their special teams control play, their power play is so deadly. That's what they did so well in the first 3 games. They shut down the power play,
Yeah, not 100%.
right? And that's what you got to do if you're Florida. Bob gave up a little bit of a softie too. That the first McDavid goal, the other one was an empty netter, but the first one, tough angle shot. Bob was sleeping. Credit to McDavid. It's such a heads up, high IQ play. He saw Bob was sleeping. He saw the 5 holes wide open. Just threw it on net from an off angle shot, and Bob just didn't expect it at all. But if you're Bob, you have to expect that. You have to.
Yeah, no,
You know,
100%.
you can't be caught sleeping. Um, but we'll see, man. I thought it was the same way. To me, the series feels a little bit like the Rangers Carolina series,
Yeah, yeah, that does have kind of have that same feeling.
right? It was Carolina won game 4, and then as a Rangers fan, you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, if Carolina wins game 4, Rangers almost have to win Game 5 at home because now you go back to Edmonton or you go back to Carolina in their situation, and if they win that game, then Game 7, it's Game 7. I think happen.
Yeah.
So if you're Florida, it's almost the same mentality where last night you're at home, you lose that game, now you go back to Edmonton, and they've got all the momentum.
Yeah.
Their crowd's gonna be buzzing. They win that game, and now you've won 3 games in a row into going into a Game 7. That's scary. That's scary for Edmonton. That's
Yeah.
if you're Edmonton now, you are a massive boulder rolling downhill right at Florida, and Florida's going to do everything they can to they just gotta hang on, right? So if you're Florida, like you're gripping the stick a little tighter now. You're a little nervous because it's not looking good. Like they got all the momentum now, Edmonton.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're gonna be coming out flying, and that crowd. You're right, like you said before, the crowd's gonna be buzzing. Like that energy's just gonna be wild.
And even in going back to that Rangers Carolina comparison, Rangers looked dead in the water in that Game 6 too,
100%.
until Kreider had a hat
Yeah,
trick.
they found the way, which is crazy. But I think honestly, I think Florida is a team that will find a way. Like I can't see them losing 3 in a row. Like honestly, I we'll see. I mean, Edmonton just firing on all cylinders, and McDavid just putting the team on his back right now. So
Yeah, David is putting the team on his back. It's he's amazing. It's amazing to watch. I mean, some of the plays he makes. I mean, the Corey Perry goal to make it 4-1. I mean, that was all McDavid. Coming in off the rush, comes in with such speed. He undresses the defenseman.
he's
Throws
so
it back
fast. His hands are just like it's like he was like born like skating like that from like a young age, which is crazy. But like he's just so good, and that was just a nuts play.
Yeah. When you watch some of these high end players too, it's what these guys do is it's not their skills aren't built overnight, right? It's they're putting in the work in their private skills sessions. They're doing the work off the ice. They've been doing the work off the ice since they were kids. They're doing the stick handling drills. They got the stick handling ball in the driveway. They've got the stick handling pad out there. They're doing the work in the gym. And if you're a young player and you want to be able to play like some of these guys, it's more than them just going to their team practice, right? It's more than them just going to one extra skating clinic a week. It's more you have to do the stuff off the ice too, and that's how you get to the top. That's how you get to over the hump, and because eventually, no matter how good you are, all the players that you're going to be playing against are typically going to be just as good as you. Even if you're an elite AAA player, you're obviously going to be playing against elite AAA players also, and that gap gets smaller, 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 smaller.
Every year, every age group, the gap does get smaller, and guys who are really really good at a younger age, they get a couple years older, start hitting, things change and things kind of even out. So you basically, my thing is I think you have to develop almost an obsession with the game where you wanna get on the ice, you wanna work on the stuff at home, you wanna get in the gym, you wanna do all this stuff because that's if you want to play at a high level or keep playing or even playing at like a double A or single A, like even then now like it's you want to be competitive, you want to score goals, like it's fun to score, it's fun to do like to be to get assists and be successful on the ice. So you have to just kind of get on and do the work. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, whatever level you're playing at, there's going to be kids who are just as good as you or better. And you have to do something that sets yourself apart from the competition and even your teammates too, right? Like it is a small competition amongst your teammates to get more ice time, to play on better lines, play power play, and all that stuff. And sometimes it's on the player. It's not on just the coaches and stuff. The players are gonna have to want to do the work off the ice also. You know, for you, Steve, you currently play at NYU, playing college hockey. So for somebody like you, what when you're in season, what's like a weekly routine for you guys and your team as far as like on ice, off ice? What do you guys kind of do?
So, well, I'll take you through with NYU. It's a little different because we have class and And so like for like I'll go through that. And I'll do like what in juniors was more like what you'll kind of see on more once you get to like the junior level or in some other college teams. But for us, like for when I'm in school, it's always like wake up, have like breakfast, like eggs, something to kind of like you get something in ya, start off the day. I always try to like get do some work, then I go to class. Once after class, I would just go to the gym and just kind of do more mobility stuff, kind of get my hips stretching, because that's the thing. Like it's a long season, and you're on the ice a lot, and you're doing other things. You're in class, you're walking around. Like me, I'm in the city, so I'm walking around constantly. So like my hips get tight, and you get tight from being on the ice too. So always kind of like working on hip stretches, um, different exercises that are gonna um, keep my strength up. I'm not trying to gain anything. I'm not trying to gain any like more muscle during the season. I'm just trying to maintain what I built over in the summer. And then that's kind of how. And then at nights we have late night practices, so guys can get there for class um, and then like I'll be ready for practice. I usually do like a little stretch routine before practice as well. And then like when I get home, I'll do the same thing. So I'm constantly just kind of getting my body like in the right mindset because it like after a while it does play effect on you, and it can affect you on the ice.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, bringing upon um, the stretching and the mobility and flexibility, because I think that's a huge aspect that a lot of players neglect is the stretching.
Yeah,
And I don't think what people don't realize is how flexible some of these professional athletes are, right? And because you have to be, you have to be. That's what avoids injury. That's what helps you with your mobility and your agility and your edge work and all that. Um, because think about this too. If you're too stiff, you can't extend your legs far enough for a good stride. You can't get low enough for crossovers. You can't, you tighten up, your back tightens up, your core tightens up. So if you're not flexible, it really affects your speed, your agility, your mobility, all that kind of stuff. So one big thing too is to make sure that you stretch, whether it's pregame, whether it's if you're doing an off ice workout, or even if it's just on a day during the week, you wake up, you stretch for 15 minutes.
well, like another thing is like the biggest thing is just warming up before any kind of activity. Like if you're going for a run, get a dynamic warm up in. If you're going to if you're before a game, dynamic warm up. Before a lesson, do a dynamic warm up. And I know kids will just kind of roll in here and sometimes and like and then granted I get it, like sometimes you have school, whatever. But like try to get there at least like 20 minutes before, get a 5 minute warm up in and then get dressed, get on the ice. It prevents injury, and granted I've had a lot of injuries throughout my career playing. So if you can just stretch and kind of get your body in the right like in the right way, it's going to help you tremendously going forward, and you're going to prevent those injuries, and you're going to have better performance on the ice because you'll be more flexible. Your muscles are warm. Right, you're going to be shooting harder, skating faster. So that's another thing that I think kids should do, um, especially even at a young age.
Yeah, definitely don't neglect your warm-ups. I've coached plenty of teams where I've almost pretty much had to babysit my team during warm-ups because they're just goofing off. They're not taking warm-up seriously. They're not stretching. They're not doing the little things to get their bodies and minds right before the game, because it's a two-part. It's a two-parter right there. You're getting your body ready, but you're also getting your mind ready. You're focusing on the game. You shouldn't be like fooling around with your friends, throwing around someone's shoe, throwing around someone's hat, doing all this other stuff and running around like crazy. Like, you should be preparing for the game. You're preparing your body. You're focusing your mind. You know, with my high school team, it's a little different. They're a little bit more locked in. It's they're used to this. It's a lot better. Um, I kind of let the captains dictate that, and if anybody's not really warming up properly, the captains get on them. But at the same time, too, when they're in high school, typically the kids know their bodies a little bit better and they know what they need to stretch more. The younger kids, they do need a little bit more hand holding, but they should also be preparing for the game. They should be preparing mentally, physically, stretching, opening up their hips, stretching their hamstrings, their quads, loosening their their shoulders, and just getting their joints and their getting everything loose, getting everything warm. And because if you neglect that, you show up to the rink just 10 minutes before a game, you throw on your equipment quick. You may not think it, but next thing you know, you can look back at all your games and, maybe you guys have lost four in a row and go period by period. Your first period, you've got a negative goal differential, and the second and third, you're fine. Well, maybe it's because you're not preparing for the game. Maybe because you're not mentally ready, you're not physically ready.
100%. And preparation is a key component for success, like in hockey and then just any sport in general. I'll take it like in juniors. When I played juniors, it was more. We did more of like a pro schedule. We had practice every single day and like lift a couple times a week. But like the biggest thing that they would harp on is preparation, preparation, preparation. We like everyone should like this is almost taking it like it's your job. Like you got come into the rink every day. Like and then I'll tell you what I did is I would go into the rink every day. My practice would be at 11, and I would get in at like 7:45. Get into the gym, do my stretch routine, do everything, do like maybe a light lift or a little run, kind of get my legs going, do a dynamic, then get on to early. We have like extra ice at like 9 or 10. Skate, do my work on the ice, do the skill stuff that I want to do, and then we had practice, and then after the practice would do 2 hours, and then after we'd do a lift, and then do the same thing after. I'd do another stretch, So like preparation is so key, and what that did for me is it helped me focus more onto what I was trying to do, like trying to get better, trying like because if I wasn't just and I knew guys on my team who just didn't really take it as serious, and um, they would just kind of roll into the rink right before practice, and like it wouldn't be like they wouldn't perform as well. And like you said before, first period would be a tough period for them, and then second period they're fine. So you want to be able to play all three periods because like that's important. You want to play a full game of hockey because if you're not on, all right, and you're pivoting the wrong way, and the guy's coming down, like that guy's cutting towards the middle and scoring on your goaltender, and that's not what you want. So just always want to be prepared.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and you use a good word, routine. And I think if you get yourself and find yourself a routine, that's going to help you tremendously. Because, look, warm-ups, they're not fun, right? By any means. Like, it's a little boring. You're just sitting there stretching. You're doing what you need to do. But if you get yourself in a routine and you're doing things regularly and you're doing the same kind of motions every game, it'll help you. And it'll make everything easier. And then it'll just become second nature. It's muscle memory. It's just like if you're working on stuff in drills and stuff like that during practice and skill sessions where that becomes second nature. So does your routine. So does your warm up. And you do the same kind of stuff. You know what you need to stretch out. You know what's stiffer than others. And you're focusing on certain aspects of the game that you have to think about. That is what helps you because like we were just saying, like if you don't do that your first period turns into your warm up, right? And you're lacking in gameplay in that first period because you're using that first period to warm up, and you don't want that. Like you said, Steve, you want to be playing all three periods.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so moral of the story: get yourself a routine, mentally prepare, and you'll be ready to play. And like I said, to tie it back to Florida and Edmonton, that's what McDavid, that's what Kachuk, Draisaitl, all these guys, they've got themselves a routine. They probably show up to the rink at the same time every single day. Some of these guys probably eat the same meal before every single game. They're doing the same kind of stretches. They're doing the same kind of warm-ups. Because a lot of these guys are superstitious too, right? That plays an element of it. I know plenty of guys who have to warm up the same way. I would always warm up the same way pre-game on the ice. I would always do the same stretches in the same order every single time, and if I didn't, it felt weird. Like it didn't.
Yeah,
Like it
no,
felt something
I'm the
off.
same way. Yeah.
Yeah, people get their superstitions, they get in their routines, but routine is important because routine adds structure, it adds discipline, and this way you know you're working on what you need to work on.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, what you're saying. Like I'm the same exact way with that. Like I have to do everything a certain way. If not, it feels weird. But yeah, like, and I'm curious to see because like I know in the fall they're doing a documentary on, I think it was on Amazon, right? I
Yeah,
don't
something like that. The NHL
yeah
is kind of doing like the quarterbacks where, but they're following
yeah they're
NHL
following
players.
these guys. But I'm curious to see if they show like what these guys do off ice. What is their routines? What are they eating? Like, and that's because that's another side of it, especially the food wise, is that like you got to be eating the right things. Like if you're not eating the right things, it's not gonna help you. You don't want to be eating McDonald's before a game. Like that's really not gonna help you. You want to be eating clean foods and stuff that's good for you and organic for you that is gonna help you be perform on the ice. So
I totally agree. If you got a morning game, eat a breakfast. Don't just like wake up and grab a granola bar, run out the house, or
don't eat Dunkin' Donuts. Don't eat a Boston cream donut before a game. That's not that's not gonna do you right.
yeah, no, eat something with protein. Get some eggs in you. Get some, even a little bacon. A little bacon's not gonna kill you, right? You get some meat in you in the morning. Get some proteins, and that'll help fuel you and help your muscles recover and such, and it'll give you some energy to go into the game. Don't eat a big breakfast like an hour before the game, or else you'll
Yeah,
yak on the ice. But
always. I say like 3 hours before the game. Get like I so this if I always had if I had a morning game like 11 o'clock, I would eat at like 8 or like 7:30. Eat like oatmeal. I would put oatmeal with peanut butter and like a little bit of brown sugar, and use like I think I'd use like water to make it, and use milk. But yeah, I mean, you can use either or. But like that was always my go-to. And like before a game, like dinner wise, like if it was a night game, I would have like grilled chicken and broccoli. That was it. No pasta or bread or anything. Just grilled chicken and broccoli. So
yeah,
just
good
stuff like that.
proteins. Good proteins. Nothing that's gonna wear you down. And sleep. Sleep is super important too. Make sure you get a good night's sleep before a game. Don't go into a game where you're up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning playing video games with your friends. Like if you got a 8, 9, 10 a.m. game, get a good night's sleep. Just
Fortnite can wait, man. Just play. It's more fun playing hockey. Honestly, I don't know. You can play Fortnite after the game. Not don't be playing all night and expect to be perform at your best the next day.
yeah, your body will be tired, your brain will be tired, and it's just a recipe, and you'll get gassed out so much faster. Your body needs sleep. Like that's nutrition, sleep, all that kind of stuff. All the little stuff that you don't think about sometimes. It's what propels you to the next level and to the
100%.
next.
8 to 10 hours. 8 to 10 hours. My coach would say 8 to 10 hours and drink like a gallon and a half of water a day. So
Yep. Hydrate, 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 hydrate,
yeah,
and not hydrate during the game. Hydrate before the game.
yeah,
Hydrate
yeah,
before the game. Hydrate the night before. You got a morning game. Drink some water before. Hydrate, hydrate, because once you start cramping, you're screwed.
yeah. It's
When you
not.
start cramping mid game, I don't care how much stretching you do mid game. I don't care how much water you start drinking mid game. You are not recovering from those cramps mid game.
Nope, nope, not at all.
It sucks.
Not at all. Yeah, it does suck.
But yeah. So new segment I wanted to do here. Um, we'll have a little fun with it. As you watch the game, you sit there and you're always just like, oh man, why do they do it this way? Oh, this rule sucks. Oh, I don't like this. So I'm gonna see here, Steve. If you could change one rule in hockey, it could be youth hockey, it could be NHL. If you got something that while you were playing that you didn't like, or that you watch on TV and you're like, this is dumb. Why do they do this? What do you got? Give me one rule change, and don't steal mine because I told you mine.
I don't know. I think honestly with like you know how like in the NFL every scoring play is reviewed. Everything's they always look at it. I think that the NHL should review every scoring play. I mean, they're so good at when they do the coaches challenge. They're so good. Like right away, they know what's going on. I'm sure it's not wouldn't be too hard to just look at every single goal that happens. Because like I don't know, I think because coaches sometimes don't want to risk if it's not a goal of losing the challenge, and then also like you're gonna be on the kill. Like that's brutal. Like that's really brutal. So I think that would be interesting, and I think a lot of games would be uh go the other way. And a
Yeah.
lot of games I've seen in the past
So would
would
you
be
take
a lot
out
different.
would that remove coaches' challenges?
No, I think coach challenges like for like offsides, stuff like a goal like that. I think just purely the goal like should be always reviewed. If that
Okay.
makes any sense. But
Yep, I hear you. Mine was if you score a shorthanded goal, the penalty should be over, right? So you sit there. If you get the power play, you got one more guy on the other than the other team. Theoretically, you should have an advantage, which you do.
yeah,
You score a goal, on the advantage, the guy comes out of the penalty box.
yeah,
But if you can score a goal with one less guy on the other team on the ice, like
I think
obviously you get rewarded by a goal,
yeah,
but you're still shorthanded,
yeah,
right? So if you can score that shorthanded goal, you should be rewarded by getting your guy out of the penalty box.
100%, 100%. I mean, did they do that with the PWHL? I don't know if they did. I remember hearing something about it. They were trying it, and it was like honestly, I thought it was sick because like they were jumping up the ice, like flying up the ice. They're not just like sitting back clearing the puck. They're once they got the puck, got possession, they were flying up trying to score. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting and make the game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it changes the way that you would view your penalty kill too, because it gives you incentive to try to score, as opposed to all right, you cause a turnover, now go. You sit there and you're sitting on your heels and defending for 2 minutes,
Yeah,
but maybe it changes a little bit who you put out there and how you run your penalty kill to be more of a little bit more of an aggressive penalty kill. Hey, let's go for this goal. We know we got guys who can score. We get our guy out of the box early.
well, think about it, like a team like Carolina who's so aggressive on the PK, they would slaughter teams. I think if they could, like, if team got on the power play, like an okay power play against their really good penalty kill, they would. I think they would score so many goals, like so many.
Yeah, I mean Edmonton had 2 games, back-to-back games of shorthanded goals, and the Rangers had a ton of shorthanded goals in the playoffs. Same thing. If you can get that shorthanded goal, man, it just changes things for you because now you get the goal and you're even strength.
Yeah, no, 100%,
So
100%.
those are our fun little hypothetical. If we were the commissioner of the NHL, that's what we'd do. But yeah, that's all the time we got today. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. If you made it this far, um, again, this is Kevin Geist with Puck Drop with Cutting Edge and Steve Dempsey.
Have it going, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you next week.